Welcome to the Visionary Chronicles, a business strategy podcast where we provide insight to those looking for creative, executable strategies built around the latest disruptive ideas, innovative cultures, product creators, and marketing solutions. Welcome to the Visionary Chronicles. Today we're going to dive into the future of e-com. And all of you have probably envisioned the future is here today. So we're going to talk about this, what digital retail revolution, how visionary brands are building the new e-com landscape, I call it. And I thought a quote from Seth Godin, one of my favorite in marketing: in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is a failure. In a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible. I thought, what a great quote from Seth. And in today's landscape, with the attention span going from 5 seconds to 4 seconds, pretty much split second as we move into the future of our e-com landscape, what does this look like? And I thought it's an interesting question because of how quickly it's evolved. When you look at many years ago, where the only option brands had was retail, and they really couldn't control what we call this journey. And when I was with these visionary brands like Oakley and K-Swiss and TaylorMade and Adidas, you know, we could control to a certain degree that customer journey. But today, these iconic brands and the brands we work with at Liquid Mind, they can control this journey. And so this digital retail, what I call revolution, is happening before our eyes, and those that haven't embraced it are the ones falling behind. So I wanted to talk about what this looks like today. So we're going to dive into this future of e-com. And we'll kind of take a look at how visionary, leading-edge brands adopt emerging technologies to reshape their online retail and the evolution of these new age, what we call digital age consumers. So when we look at this, the question comes up is it's not just the retail revolution, it's also the buying journey and experience that's changed. Before, you would have foot traffic conversations with your retailers. Now you want to have impressions, you want to have conversions, you will have digital dashboards of the experience online as well as in store. So this digital new age customer is what is engaging this new landscape of digital e-com. So the interesting thing, what I'd like to put in this podcast today are some statistics so you can get an idea of how quickly and rapidly it's growing in the future of e-com. You know, this explosive growth, unprecedented growth with e-com. And since the global pandemic, which quite frankly accelerated the growth of e-com, sales hit 6.3 million in 2023, and it's going to reach $8.1 trillion by 2026. Great things for the brands because you can control your journey, you can control lifetime customer value. And it just isn't gross. It's what we call this seismic shift in how we shop and how we do business. So let's start with this tech transformation of online shopping and understand this huge seismic opportunity, you know, and give you some examples of what that looks like out in traditional commerce today. And currently, there are a couple technologies that are moving the needle and will continue to move the needle. And augmented and virtual reality are creating what we call this kind of immersive buying experience. And controlling this, but more importantly, having a strategy around how you want to implement it as a brand is extremely important. You know, it's one thing to put it up on the whiteboard and say you want to have this immersive journey with your customer, but it's a completely different thing on the execution side. If things go south, authentication and loyalty get damaged. And we've talked about that before on previous podcasts. Is it your lifeblood? And what you've worked so hard for on brand equity, driven through authentication and loyalty, can be damaged very quickly. And so you want to make sure that you have a strategy around how you're going to execute these immersive technologies on digital e-com. So if you can imagine, trying on clothes, and these are things that are happening today. I say this, those that have done it understand the experience of trying on clothes or visualizing furniture in your home before buying it. What we've seen before are these technologies that really haven't evolved over the last, let's say 5-10 years, but immersive technologies have. And so that's where we really want to take this going forward, are these immersive technologies of visualizing these products, this whatever it may be, furniture, eyewear, apparel, footwear, whatever it is. Companies like IKEA and Warby Parker are already using AR to boost sales and reduce returns. That's one thing I want to talk about today as well, is when you're building your strategy on tech, digital e-com, and the conversion and the seismic shift, make sure you're understanding it's not just the purchase cycle and the recurring lifetime customer value, but it's also the value of reducing returns. That's a huge, any brand that we talk with, that we work with on Liquid Mind, that's one thing that we see is, hey, I would love to reduce my return ratio from 12% to 6%. Well, how do you do that? You do it through immersing your consumers through this virtual reality, this immersive buying experience, and allowing them to effectively virtually see what things look like on or in their house. And another one that we're finding is really gaining a lot of traction, and there's many brands that are looking at it, but not very many that are implementing as of yet. But I can tell you, in looking at one of the emerging technologies that you absolutely need to be embracing, is called voice language processing. You'll hear the acronym of VLP. And through voice commerce, it's another game changer that you need to be on top of now. So as an example of how this works, virtual or voice language processing, is that you can have Siri or you can have Alexa remind you of buying things that you may have not thought of before, and or questioning and have them purchase it themselves. So it's a really interesting technology that's an emerging technology, but one as you start putting these products in homes, and almost every home has, and including iPhones, has the ability to speak through these devices. And guess what? People want to make things simple. There's a reason people drive around parking lots waiting for a spot to open. They want things to be easy. They want things to be quick, and they're impatient. So voice language processing is the next evolution of digital e-com. So I put that out there because I want to make sure that when you're putting your strategy together for digital e-com business and augmented reality and immersive buying experiences, that VLP is part of that. So with smart speakers in millions of homes, voice shopping is set to hit $80 billion in 2023. These requests like Alexa ordering more coffee pods, whatever it may be. But $80 billion when you think of voice language processing in relationship to the $6.3 to $8.1 trillion number, it may not seem meaningful, but it's going to be probably the quickest growing category within digital e-com. So you want to be on top of this as soon as possible and putting together a strategy of how you're going to execute your VLP business. And another growing technology that's already fully ingrained into e-com is AI and machine learning, and the personalization of the buying experience, and also the loyalty loop that is part of that, as well as personalizing buying experiences with your customers and doing that through AI and machine learning, and personalizing shopping experiences wherever you can. And another example of this is, let's just say you bought a pair of Nike Jordans, Air Forces, and you wanted the next generation of this, and or you were looking for a particular color, and or you had a particular size, or you had a birthday that you needed to buy for someone. All of these are predictive analysis through AI that you can provide to your customers as a value add beyond product. And I always talk about, what is your point of difference? And one big thing is value add beyond product. making people's lives easier. And when you look at AI and machine learning, it's really personalizing, again, that shopping experience like never before. They predict what you want before you know you want it. A Netflix video, a Nike style recommendation is becoming that norm on the e-com side. So when you look at this immersive virtual reality experience, voice language processing, AI and machine learning, all of these things are strategic strategy around the digital e-com buying experience. So you want to be a part of this. Now, one thing that people are starting to embrace as well, there's a lot of controversy out there with Bitcoin, blockchain strategies, but it is a part of commerce, and you need to be understanding and at least evaluating, which we do with our brands. Blockchains is also enhancing security and transparency. So it's just not crypto anymore. You know, Walmart has adopted blockchain to trace food from farm to shelf to boosting customer trust. So it's really now a supply chain that's being integrated into the buying experience in this immersive journey. And it's building trust with the customers as well. It's one thing blockchain can do, which others can't do. So let's also talk about what happens when the customer behavior changes. You know, mobile's now king. You know, no longer do people walk in stores and look for products and talk to the customer associate. You know, mobile's now king. And to give you a statistic as to what the king looks like is over 70% of e-com sales are now through mobile. So this is an immersive effect that you need to ensure that your site is mobile optimized. I mean, that kind of goes without saying, but I can tell you there's many brands that when we put it up on the board on building this digital e-com strategy, mobilization or mobile site optimization is one that most people haven't done yet. You know, if your site is mobile optimized, you're gaining customers. Simple to do. Not everyone does it. Just do it. Going back to the Nike acronym, just do it. So take a look at that as part of your strategy as well. And sustainability. People, you know, what we find in talking with executives, talking with customers is that the customer feels important. The executive doesn't necessarily feel, the brand doesn't necessarily feel it's important. Those are the Patagonias of the world that feel sustainability is important. And I can tell you that through experience as well as statistic is that 65% of your customers, I don't care who it is, want to buy from a purpose-driven brand that advocates responsibility. You know, supplies to products, packaging, shipping, corporate practices, whatever it may be. You know, so don't brush it off anymore that sustainability is now not a digital e-com strategy because 65% of your customers are saying they believe it is important. It's up to you to decide where that importance is, but embrace it, whether through your products, your packaging, shipping, or your internal corporate practices. Make it visible to your customers. They feel it's important. So to gain an edge beyond product, build sustainability story into your brand itself if you haven't done it already. And social commerce is also booming. When we took at platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are all becoming virtual malls. So here's another digital e-com opportunity that can drive revenue base for you as well if you haven't already started. So live shopping events has been popularized in China. You're gaining traction here as well as globally. So when we start looking at social commerce, make sure that you've maximized and optimized these platforms, these social platforms that you're engaging with your consumer. Look for conversion. Looking for investment to ensure that you have product on these sites and they are converting. You know, these are brand strategies that are obvious and things that need to be implemented. And if they're adopted and authentically managed, they can build both revenue and brand equity over time. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing those opportunities also. In the vertical buying journey, and I'll go back to what it looked like 5-10 years ago, is that you didn't always have control over how retailers were representing your product in stores, how they were representing your product online. So the control that you now have as a brand and a vertical buying journey is incredible. And with that, though, are challenges because consumers expect a seamless omnichannel experience. And I have another podcast. If you haven't listened to it, there's an omnichannel on the Visionary brand. One of the chapters in the book, The Visionary Brand, the success formula behind the world's most visionary brands, has omnichannel. And so with this vertical integration of a buying journey, you also have the challenge of the omnichannel experience. People talk about, hey, it's a great product, but it's a pain in the ass to buy. I don't want to deal with it. They're either out of stock, it ships late, it didn't ship on time. They might research on mobile, buy on desktop, pick up in store. Brands that can't offer this flexibility are just clearly falling behind. So again, make sure that you maximize this experience on the digital e-com side and work with your retailers to ensure it gets executed properly. So it's a mouthful. It's a lot with digital experience and e-com and where it's going. So what does it mean for brands or entrepreneurs? It's challenges. It's a world of challenges, but also at the same time, opportunities. You need to stay agile, embrace these new technologies and platforms. They're just opportunities that were never available to brands, companies, and services before, but you need to embrace those. But you don't need to do everything. That's what I find when we whiteboard these opportunities. They all light up. All the executives light up in the room, and the team lights up in the room when they see these digital opportunities. But you don't need to do everything. Start somewhere. Give the rifle approach, not the shotgun approach. Find your niche where you have a core expertise and you can execute it properly. Maybe you focus on sustainability or even excelling at AR experiences. Whatever it is, pick one, execute it, and then keep moving up the chain of opportunity. But first and foremost, the key is your customer. Use data to understand their preferences and behaviors. Personalization is no longer a luxury for a brand. It's an expectation from your customer. We talk about it in the loyalty loop. Again, a previous podcast, also available in the Visionary brand. We talk about the loyalty loop. Before, it was the funnel approach in marketing, where you spit the customer out once they purchased your product. So now it's an expectation and a strategy around what you need to do and work with your customers. So make sure that you're doing that and make sure that you understand your customer's journey. So it's an expectation. It's an opportunity, but at the same time, it's an expectation of your customer. You want to make sure that you maximize it. So the other thing I see as well is these opportunities that brands look at. One name that's always brought up is Amazon. And we always say, find a way to be different. We see all these little boutique brands that are just killing it out there with a similar product to Amazon. So what you want to make sure of is that you aren't trying to compete with Amazon on logistics or whatever it happens to be, price point. Instead, compete on experience, on curation, and what you have available that's unique to your brand and your community. Build relationships with your customers that go beyond transactions, because Amazon can't compete with you on that. So the other question is, looking ahead. We whiteboard all these opportunities, and again, what can we expect? What you're going to expect is that the lines between physical and digital retail will continue to blur. We'll see more experiential retail where stores become showrooms and fulfillment centers for online orders. They get converted. Cryptocurrency payments will become more mainstream, offering new ways to transact globally. So these are things that are going to happen, not if, but when. So jump on board with these. It isn't just product anymore. It's the experience and the journey that's an expectation. So the metaverse presents kind of these intriguing possibilities, these virtual storefronts and shared digital spaces, which could revolutionize how we discover and interact with products. It's a great environment to be in as a company, brand, or service. So wrapping up, it's a lot. I get it. It's a lot. And it's a mouthful. But to wrap up, here's some kind of key takeaways that I would look at. Number one, first and foremost, is embrace technology. always in service of enhancing the customer experience. You want to make sure that you always are looking through the customer's eyeballs. What would your expectation be? And that's what their expectation is. Number 2 is focus on building relationships and community around your brand. I just talked about it with Amazon. Don't bitch about Amazon, about them being a great retailer. They are a great retailer. They're a behemoth. So find ways to maneuver around them beyond product. They can't compete with you on community. They can't as a small brand or a big brand. And number 3 is stay agile and ready to adapt to new platforms and consumer preferences. Always be aware of what you can implement authentically and effectively. So I say the future of e-commerce is really exciting. It's a great thing to see, and also opportunities to present to brands. And it's full of potential. It's just not about selling products anymore, which is cool. It's about creating these digital experiences that really, let's say, delight and engage customers like never before. And with the Visionary Chronicles, hopefully you feel that we'll be able to give you this information. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions on these digital experiences and what you feel they're going and where you feel that they should be going and how you're adapting and also implementing. So that's it for the Visionary Chronicles today. And I always say I appreciate your time. If you found this valuable, please share it with your fellow entrepreneur. And remember to subscribe for more insights on the future of business. Until next time, again, keep innovating, stay visionary, stay true, stay authentic, be different, and be great, and enjoy the journey along the way. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. And again, reach out if you have any questions. And I appreciate it, and have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Visionary Chronicles today. Really appreciate your time. Realize that you're extremely busy. And thank you to those also that have made us the #1 visionary and top 50 marketing global podcasts as ranked by FeedSpot. Also, thank you to those that have also purchased the Visionary brand, the success formula behind the world's most visionary brands, making us a Amazon bestseller, as well as winning the Reader's Favorite Award for Best Nonfiction Marketing Genre Book, still available through all distribution channels. And also, if you like what you hear with the Visionary Chronicles podcast, please subscribe or forward this to someone you know that may enjoy what we're talking about with the Visionary Chronicles. And you'll also get a free ebook edition. And it's available through all subscriptions: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, iHeart, Google Podcasts, all available for subscription no matter what you listen to. And also, with the release of the Visionary brand, we're also just finished our master course located at thevisionaryfiles.com. It's a 18 video learning courses, almost 2 hours of visionary lessons on what we're talking about with the Visionary brand today. So if you could pass this along as well, again, it's available at thevisionaryfiles.com. Just finished that this quarter. We have over 2,100 entrepreneurs and brand leaders who have already taken the course. And also, if you have any questions on the podcast, feel free to reach out to me at Liquid Mind, where we have free meetings that we provide. We also partner with startups, mid to large cap consumer brands, empowering these businesses to think differently, be different. We drive a passionate culture and to tell them to execute relentlessly. I'm available at liquidmindsite.com. Also, Brian at liquidmindsite.com, and also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to me. Always love to hear your comments and feedback.